Coalport Borough has had the great privilege to host the Glendale Volunteer Fire Department. On October 2, 2024 at 3 p.m., Local Government Policy Specialist the Honorable Anne Weaver Morrow and Local Government Peer Consultant the Honorable Daniel Wauthier conferenced with the Glendale Volunteer Fire Department and Reed Township Volunteer Fire Department as they consider merging their companies. The Vision Press Production News Media presents the privilege to be on site for the conference at the Beccaria Township Meeting Office.
They started at
We had to
6:30 this
outside
morning, 4 calls, they just had another call.
to bring people in. I mean, they messed down in your end, Patton is on the other end, and Arbonne and Coalport were in between.
Yeah, just sort of chat.
Coalport answered.
So, I'm gonna go ahead and get started if that's all right. My name is Anne Weaver Morrow. I'm a local government policy specialist and support the Emergency Services Program through the Department of Community and Economic Development. And with me is Dan Wauthier. He is one of our fire consultants. And so we received letters of intent from both municipalities, from Beccaria and Reed Township, on behalf of their fire companies. So let me back up. Through emergency services, we provide technical assistance for police, fire, and EMS. And what we do is we do assessments and studies at no cost to the municipality. Or we help with mergers, consolidations, regionalization of those services. The letters of intent asked for a study for a possible merger between the two fire departments in the two municipalities, okay? Is that really needed? So our letter of intent gives that option, but oftentimes we find that a study really doesn't need to be completed. That really the services have already been talking, they've already come to decide, yeah, we need to merge this one with this one, or close this station down and consolidate this here, or what have you. That we can bring our consultant in, instead of doing a full study, gathering data and all that information to put in a report, he now can say, these are the steps and this is how you work through merging. So that's what we're here to understand on our end. I'm gonna let Dan introduce himself and give you his background. And then really I would like the elected officials or the fire personnel to talk, to let us know where you're at and how we can help and assist you to get to wherever you want to be. Okay, Dan?
Good afternoon. Dan Wauthier, I'm from down in Allegheny County. I've been a member of our department since 1976. I've been fire chief since 1988. We're a small department, but 5 calls today puts us up to about 408 calls so far this year, and we do not run medical calls. So I know firsthand what the volunteer fire service is going through. I've been working for DCD since 2018 doing these studies. When I come in to do a study, we've done a lot bigger ones than this. As a matter of fact, right now I'm involved in one that involves 9 fire departments altogether. I tell everybody, I'm not there for the fire department, I'm not there for the municipality, I'm here for your residents. I'm a third-party neutral that comes in to recommend what we feel is the best for your residents. And again, once that they are recommendations, there's nothing mandatory about this. There's, there's nothing on the state level that we have to do this. Technically, I'm a state employee, but I'm a contractor for the state. I work for the state, but I don't work for the state. I work for myself, basically. So, this isn't a 40-hour week job. So, just to give you guys my background. So, what we need from you is just to understand, we got the letter of intent, I read that. I tried to do some creeping on the internet last night just to figure out what was going on. The township actually, Beccaria actually surrounds 2 other towns. Is that what I seen on the map? Correct. One of the towns, Ivona has a fire department in there.
We tried to reach out prior, and we never could get.
We never got a solid answer. I don't know whether or not they wanted to jump in on this or not.
Okay, so Beccaria is covered by which department?
There's 4.
Okay,
There's
four.
4.
Yeah, 4 different departments covered.
That's because it's that big of a township.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, the big majority of the township is covered by Coalport, Glendale.
Okay.
But then Arvona covers their borough within the township, and then a couple parts of Beccaria that kind of would obviously make more sense for them to cover. And there's a 3rd department, Glen Hope, they cover a piece, and then there's a 4th department, Rainey, that covers a small piece.
So
I think-
is there a
I
department?
think Ken has a breakdown on the percentages. Do you have any idea, Ken?
On the spot.
60, 20, 10, 10.
60, 20, 10, 10.
Yeah. 60 Glendale, 20 Arvona, 10 Glenhope and Green.
So, which department do you guys represent, or is it a department, or is it?
There's a bunch of us here.
Okay,
just wanna go in a
from
circle.
from those 4 departments, or?
No, just
That's
2.
That's just 2 departments.
Okay, which ones are those?
Glendale and Reed are here tonight.
Okay.
But now Reed is not on that list we just gave you.
They're separate.
They're in a different municipality.
That's the one that's actually in the other
In
county.
another county.
Alright, okay. Now it's getting, now the money, waters are getting a little less money. Okay. So technically, Reed doesn't cover any of this township now,
No.
as it is.
Basically, we would be a mutual aid because Beccaria Township, Reed Township, our lines anyway, like
Yeah,
5-6 miles of road,
yeah.
less than 10.
Okay.
And then Glendale has no coverage area within Reed Township, but we do run a lot of mutual aid with Reed.
Is this mostly for Beccaria Township, or is this also Reed Township needs? I mean, just give me the background story. Are both departments kind of hurting a little bit, where it would behoove looking into a merger? Is it, what's the catalyst behind the merger, or talking about a merger?
Try to improve membership numbers and improve funding.
So how many do you have at, like, what are your numbers of volunteers?
At Glendale, on paper, we probably have close to 42 volunteers. But when you actually look at who turns out on a call, there's only about 17.
Okay.
This year, paid news members is 51.
For Glendale, but they don't all run on a regular basis.
Well, and my definition of a paid, or not paid firefighter, my definition of a firefighter, you can tell me you have 200 people on your roster, unless they have it, unless they have essentials with structure burn session, they're not a firefighter. I mean, I get that, yeah, they're a dues paying member. I mean, granted, you got the guys can drive the truck and run the pumps and stuff, but at 3 o'clock in the morning, I need those people that are able to crawl down that hallway to the bedroom to get somebody out. So you can tell me you have all the drivers and operators and social members, but in my opinion, unless they have the certs, that those are the true people.
Yeah, it's like 17 to 20, somewhere in there.
Do you agree with that, JR?
Yeah. I would.
Okay. And Reed, right now?
I'd say we're praying about the same.
Only 3 people show up evening.
Sometimes 4.
Okay, 4 maybe.
Can't figure it out unless you got 2.
Unfortunately, that's you know the people that are going to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning for the smells and bells, and you know the ones that are going to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning if it is a structure, some accident with the good calls, not the
Nobody can get up at 3 o'clock in the morning for a tree down.
no, no.
Doggone, you didn't tell me that.
You're a township official.
So what have you guys been talking between the 2 departments? Have you been, is this pretty much a done deal? You feel that it needs to get done, or is it something, again, I need the pulse of what's going on.
Well, the
here.
reason, Reed's looking at this is our ambulance service was horrendously in debt. So some of the Allegheny does get out, we dismembered it. So we got Ahmed coming in from the north, Patton coming in from the south, and these guys through QRS. Man, they're there on every call that goes out. So whatever they wanna do, we wanna support that, cause I can't make it any better. And Arvona, and they have an ambulance service too, so but they're BLS, so they show up too whenever they need to.
But sometimes the BLS and the QRS.
So when these guys said about merging,
It's
I said, I have at it, because I'm for it.
you're not the only ones that are running through that on the medical side.
No, it's
EMS is throughout the state is total. I have. I said I'm in Allegheny County, and 2 of my officers are actually paramedics with services in Allegheny County, and then they're running 50 minutes out into Beaver County right now because Beaver County's in shambles.
Yeah.
And it's like, so EMS is something there. All right, so I guess my next question would be, if you guys are already talking, and everybody's for this, then we really don't need to do a study. What we can offer through DCED is the technical assistance. And just in talking here, what you actually want to do, if you're going to proceed, is do a merger. Okay. The reason you want to do a merger is basically, is for the state grant. The state grant we get every year from the Office of the State Fire Commissioner. If you merge the 2 departments, create a new entity for that grant, you're now allowed to apply for up to $40,000 a year. It actually doubles for 20 years. You're allowed to do that. So right now you hopefully are applying for $20,000 each. We never get the full amount, but hopefully you're applying for the $20,000. That doubles. That's one of the caveats of that. The merger does does include legal fees because you have to go. It's like founding a new company. You have to do your legal fees, your 501c3. It has to go through the Department of State, the court system. Believe it or not, orphans court. County Orphans Court, so there are quite a few procedures that have to get done, and we do have some written literature, actually a guide. Did they ever approve that?
It's almost done, almost done.
Well, we did it like 8 months ago, and it's
Almost
the
done.
legal
It's just
legal
like
have it right
fingerprints.
now.
So,
So,
each department being in a different county, does that create an issue?
no, it should not create an issue. The only issues I could see coming is going to be at the local level, because once this new department is formed, It would be how much each municipality supports, what the financial support is, how you would actually divvy up the workers' comp, because the local municipality is responsible for workers' comp. Other than that, county has nothing to do with it. So that shouldn't come into effect. Well, I take that back. Is it two separate dispatches? Is there a Clearfield County dispatch and a Cambria County dispatch? So that, I would say you're probably gonna
Cambria has the capabilities of dispatching Clearfield.
Clearfield.
Yeah, they can dispatch our station,
Okay, so yeah.
depending on the level of call.
That would be something you'd have to work out with them, either one or the
Oh, we
other
already
just
have.
takes, one or the other
How do you
takes.
usually cover territory in both counties?
Yeah, I mean, that, countywide, that would be the only issue I could see, is just the dispatch center. And if you guys already have that worked out, that's one hurdle that you already have.
Of course, we've been working with each other for 20, 30 years, you know what I mean, 20, 30 years, that we've side by side.
And that's just it. I mean, most of these, as long as you have the buy-in from everybody and everybody realizes that it's in the best interest of your residents, you guys have the majority of the battle done. How many times we've talked mergers and, this one doesn't, well, they just want to merge because they want our money. It's not really your money.
Neither one of
It's
us
the
have any money.
Yeah, there ain't much money on either side.
Basically, what we're trying to do is provide better fire coverage. If we're concerned about the citizens of Beccaria, Reed,
And White Town.
and White, Coolport Borough.
And we'll keep supporting, go ahead, Scott.
I commend you guys for, I mean, it needs to happen a lot more. My township, and I always use myself as an example, my township has 3 departments. Do we need 3 departments? No. Do we need 3 stations? No. We need 2 stations because we got a big hill right in the middle of the township. And again, I keep telling the other 2 because they always cry broke that they don't have any money. Between the money our township gives us and they're, I think they're being very generous. Very, very generous, but the other 2 don't. Between the money they give us, the Relief Association, and just running a solicitation, a fund drive, letter drive, if we combined into one department, we'd be getting in over $500,000 a year. But they want to keep splitting everything in 3, and it's like, but again, like I said, we're up over 4. Last year we did 432 calls. We're already at 405, 406, so we'll be well north of 500 calls. We've been averaging between 45 and 50 calls a month.
Actually, when we all sat down and talked, we said this should have been done years ago.
Yeah, I mean, we can give you guidance through DCD. There's steps, like I said, we sat down and we actually came up in conjunction with the office of the fire commissioner, a guide. All right, if you're going to do this, you do steps A, B, C, D. If you want to do this, you got to, 3, 4, 5, 6. Unfortunately, that's still an illegal eagle, but we can definitely help you on that if you guys are already, if that's the way you want to go. We are available for any questions and stuff like that. Anne's available, or one of the consultants. There are 6 of us now.
How you
We
work
just
that
had
hierarchy
2.
as far as chain of command?
That's kind of what you guys have to decide. Do you have a committee together yet, a steering committee, to actually sit down and?
We wanted to talk to y'all first.
Yeah.
But we've met the chief officers and the administrative of both departments have met.
That's the thing. What I would suggest your first steps is getting a steering committee together. of action. Well, have both departments bring up a motion or whatever that we're gonna pursue this merger. So it's officially on the books.
We did.
Okay. Okay. Then you wanna get a steering committee together to start going over, items like that. Start looking at your bylaws. How close are your bylaws together? Are they so far apart? How close are your standard operating procedures, your officers' requirements? Okay? You want to work towards that one single together. So once you get all that groundwork laid, when it comes down, when the actual department is formed, you just adopt what both stations have already done. Just makes it that much easier. As far as hierarchy, that's up to you guys. However you feel, keeping are you going to keep both stations? I would assume you're going to keep both of them. That's what you guys. And sometimes that's the bittersweet part because like I mentioned before, I'm doing a study right now involving 9 stations, and everybody's for consolidating as long as it's not their station. So if you guys are already, like I said, you guys are already jumped some hurdles. If everybody's in favor of this, you already got some of the biggest hurdles out of the way.
By merging, if the current members of Glendale happen to be in Reed's territory, we'll call it Reed's territory for now, in Blandburg or up there, and their whistle goes off, they could be responding to that station and be covered under liability insurance, workman's comp, all that stuff.
However,
Now, that
as
can't-
long as you're one company.
Yeah, but that can't happen until
The merger's complete.
until the merger's complete. See, I don't know how sticky
Or
that
is
is.
that a gray area?
Well, you have the power
You can
to
draft.
draft someone. So technically, if I'm sitting at the station, some guys walking down the street on, you're blessed, get on the truck. But that is a gray area. You can do, I'm sure you could probably just do a quick resolution between the 2 departments saying, hey, we recognize their members as members of our department. Just in the meantime, until you get the merger done, just do like a joint membership. But you want to get all those little details. Like I said, your bylaws, how you elect your officers, what your officers' qualifications are. I highly recommend when you do it, you don't have to go for the moon, but your line officers especially should have some type of qualification, because the other thing I look at, and we just mentioned here, is the litigation side. Okay, in my department, for example, I have to have 10 years experience. I have to make so many meetings and trainings the year before. I have to have incident safety officer, and I have to be a certified fire instructor 1. Okay, I was the one that pushed for the fire instructor 1 because who's in charge of training? The fire chief. Who are you to train people if you don't have the certification? Okay, so when I get up on that witness stand, something happens, and we all know something happens, and you get a subpoena. It's from 3 or 4 years ago. So when I get up on that witness stand, and Edward J. Snyder's standing there, I can go, I'm a firefighter 2, fire officer 1, fire instructor 1. I have too many years of experience, yada yada. I can go right down the line. Those 12 people sitting in that jury box are probably going to go, I have no clue what that means, but it sounds pretty darn impressive. Same with your driver's programs. Another one I harp, have the paperwork trail. Design something where you're taking the guys out, that you actually showed document it. You need that paper trail. And again, that's the litigation side. We all know with cell phones and everything else, it's no different. You guys out here and me down, and you never know. You just never know. So one thing I always stress is please do that. But yeah, once you get through those first couple, I said, you'll have to retain a lawyer to go through. Hopefully you know somebody that likes the fire departments. But it is a legal process, and it's gonna take a little bit of time. It's not gonna happen overnight. And you have to go. You wanna do, I mean, if money is an issue and you want to, one department can just take over the other department, where you would have, technically, like Beccaria would decertify, would not recognize anymore the department here, would recognize the department taken over. But by doing that, you lose the state, you lose that 20 grand in state money every year. So 20, you can say $15,000 times 20 years, that's $300,000 you're losing out on that. So you're gonna pay a little bit in legal fees, but when it comes down to it, it's worth doing the merger.
How big is your wallet?
So at what point do you retain this lawyer? Is that something we should go to our next meeting and start right now, or do we need to get other stuff done?
I would get that preliminary stuff done, because that's all stuff that they're probably gonna ask you for. And instead of wasting their time, because they charge by the minute, if he says, I need a copy of your bylaws, and you he says, all right, is this gonna, yes, it's identical in both departments, it's gonna be the bylaws for the new department, out the door. SOGs, all that stuff. If you have all that, bank accounts, stuff like that can get handled, that's all the financials can get handled after. That's part of the merger, so just it'd be changing the names and who's eligible to sign and yada yada. But your first part is definitely getting, if you have the resolutions on a book, it's getting a steering committee. And I want your steering committee, I wouldn't say 20 people. Get 3 people from each department. Okay, the more people you get, the more opinions and ideas you get. So you get 3 or 4 people from each department. Set a date, set a regular time each month that you're meeting, and do not deviate from that time. Oh, we'll get it next month. No, because then you go, here it is 9 months down the road, and you haven't got anywhere. So get the people that are going to do it. We're going to meet the first Tuesday of every month.
Or you can do more.
Yep.
You can do it every other week, however much work you want to put into it.
And then, like I said, that lay your groundwork, and then contact. I would talk to some lawyers ahead of time, or put some feelers out there to see. But it doesn't have to be like a Kim Hauser. Just somebody that can set up you're setting up a new business. Is basically what it is. Sorry, I didn't put this on silent. You're setting up a new business.
So basically, under the new department, all the money will be in what?
However you guys want to set it up, whether if you have a general fund and a capital account, or again, there's no real guidelines. It's however you guys set it up. So you just dump it into.
When you said that basically both the departments that exist right now, both of them basically have to dissolve and make a brand new one, right?
Yes.
Then how is that going to go about with? You would have to apply for, I assume, new EIN, right?
Yes. That should all be part of the lawyer's process. You would have to get a new, you're creating a new company.
That was my next one.
Yes.
That means I have to get a new 501c3.
Yes.
How much overlap time do you guys usually see there between when a department would be done and when a new one would have their 501c3?
You should be able to do it. All at one time. Created the new company. apply for your 501c3. You don't have to get rid of the old ones until all that's in
That's
place.
all that's done.
Yeah, get all, you can get the new company in place, get it up and running, and then, because you don't want to transfer your financials until that point, because you're still going to be getting bills over there and bills over here, utility bills, so you're going to have to keep paying them, and then, and that's the other thing. At the end, you're going to have to call all your utility, your cable, all those bills, and get everything changed over. So, yeah, it's not going to be, there's a lot of moving parts there, but, a good lawyer should actually help you guide through all that process. 501c3 and all that.
Then I guess the next, on top of 501c3, is does that hurt me to apply for a small games of chance license?
Ooh, that's the other county thing that might, because that's controlled by the county. I would have to look at that, because I don't know.
Probably have to have a joint license.
Yeah, well, they don't issue joint licenses.
Yeah.
They'll only issue one per EIN.
Or is it?
Is it per EIN or is it per location?
See, that's what I wasn't sure of, depending on who's having the.
Yeah,
small
it
games.
because that is, the small games of chance is controlled by the county.
But it is by EIN, like, say, so once we would get merged and say this new company goes down after a year of fulfilling their purpose, goes down and gets their first small games of chance license. It is then licensed to the location they decide, but you have to run it by the district attorney if you can use it at another place. That's the policy they have written out on paper, is ask the district attorney if you can run it somewhere else. I'm just more concerned about a lot of our profit, and I guess not profit, we damn near break even every year, but most of our income comes from small games of chance.
Okay.
So
As far as what, just
we do a couple raffles and 50-50s throughout the year.
Raffles are kind of mobile, because you got a raffle ticket. I could have brought our raffle. We're raffling off a trip right now, so I can sell them up here.
Well, I'm not worried about location. I'm worried about am I not going to be able to have a small games of chance license for a year because I'm not allowed to apply for a year?
Yeah, just
I'll be able to
keep
I'll be able to keep the old one and keep that department open until I can apply for a new one.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and your county, I can't see where your county would give you an aggravation on that.
I don't think they would either, but
That's the other thing you guys would have to decide on, which station is going to be designated your actual business address, and your other station would be a substation. So again, is it going to be the station in Clearfield County where you want your business address to be, or is it going to be this one in Cambria? So it's another kind of, that's, kind of the weird thing just with the county. I'm glad you mentioned this small games chance, because it should be a no-brainer once you.
So usually the counties, as long as you're not like going crazy and selling 1,500 tractors a week, they're usually pretty hands off and go ahead, do what you want about it.
Yeah, they get their $100 a year.
Yeah, 120 now.
Oh, it's 120.
Yeah, just had to renew ours.
I know, I had these, we used to hold bingo every week, and every once a year I had to go downtown Pittsburgh and go to the city county building to take the check-ins, because you couldn't do it through the mail, you had to do it in person. It's like, why?
They want to see you.
Yeah. Like I said, get the groundwork laid first. We are available for resources. Actually, after 6 years, I finally got business cards. So I'm gonna a couple of those out. For phone calls and stuff like that.
The other lady that started it, Terry.
Oh, Terry Kunkel? So she's still the policy specialist for your region, and, she can help with this, but fire, police, and EMS, as a policy specialist now, it comes to me. She would still support the elected officials with anything else. Not that you can't still talk to her and she can relay it, but
She's here, here for the municipalities, and you guys are.
And she's on the bottom line.
Terry's like the liaison for the
Yeah.
Northwestern.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do something like that, she says.
Yeah, I asked
Very
her,
close to
I
it.
know it's bottom line.
Yeah, oh
Yeah.
yeah, she can certainly come to any meetings.
yeah.
You know, if you have certain meetings and you want somebody there and I can't come, she can come and,
She's
you know,
very,
speak or
she's
listen and,
very involved in the
Yeah.
volunteer
I don't know if this has
Yeah.
any bearing on
Goshen?
Yeah, Goshen.
Goshen's.
Relief
I think there's
associations.
hit for something last night.
Volunteer Fire Department relief associations. Does this
Okay.
have any bearing on how that's gonna turn out?
Um,
Each department has their own relief association.
correct, yes, and you should just be able to do almost the
Maintain them the way they
same.
are.
You can maintain them the way they are, or you should be able to merge those also. Usually, that is through the state auditors. I mean, your relief associations technically are an incorporated, thing. In that one there, I would say you probably, instead of merging, you're just gonna do a takeover. I mean, if you don't care about the name, then you just take one and say, all right, you tell the auditor general and
So one
the
of the
state
boards,
fire
yeah.
commissioner, we're donating all our stuff to this one. We're abolishing this relief association and this will be the relief association.
So would they have to do a final audit on when it got closed?
Probably wanna do that.
As assuming it.
Yeah. And then whenever your relief fund checks come, whichever, the township would just, you're still gonna get two separate, because you're in two separate townships. But, it would all just be deposited in one, so just to save the money there, I'd close one of them and just say, hey, we're donating everything over to this one. This will be the official relief association for the new fire department. And you might even be able just to go through, your lawyer you could probably just shut one down, put it over, and you probably just rename that one. That would just be the Department of State, Pennsylvania Department of State. Hey, we want to change the name from Beccaria Township Relief to blah, blah, blah Relief. Because we all had to do that back when, like we used to be Presto Volunteer Fire Department and Relief Association. Well, then we had to separate it, and that's all we did. We changed the name. We went through the Department of State, said, all right, now we're Presto Volunteer Fire Department and Presto Volunteer Fire Department Relief Association, which is a name change. So, yeah, that's 99.9% of the battle if everybody's on board. You got the first hurdle over.
any other questions?
I think I'm good.
Okay.
So, since I'm in two different, or all three different municipalities, Old Port Borough, do you have to go to each, like White Township, it's like, hey, we wanna go through with the merger, do we have your permission to do that? How does that work?
You don't have to get their permission if they've already recognized, whoever they recognize, when it comes time, they're gonna have to recognize the
Name
new
change.
organization, yes.
Okay.
They're gonna have to recognize that. Now, how do they financially? I'm thinking White Township actually contracts, do they contract with you guys?
They contract with us.
Okay, so they actually pay you money?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so
it's
that
amount of money per,
that would have to be, just that you'd renegotiate instead of whatever,
Just
you change the name on a contract, and that's the recognized service provider. How do they do your workman's comp?
well, Old Port Borough is in flux. So we have had recent issues with the borough
Our fire stations have
with
inside
the
borough.
the workers' comp, coverage. But we've been working through it. What happened is Coalport Borough, correct me if I'm wrong, Jerry, will bill Beccaria Township and White Township for their share of the workers' comp.
Correct.
Okay, and then they pay the entire bill, but there's been issues with getting the bill paid.
The other two.
Through Coalport
We're
Borough.
on 3 years in a row.
Yes,
They
Kim.
cancellation
The
letters.
borough.
And it's happened more than once.
Quite frequently.
I get on the borough in June to let her know, because I know the timeline. I still have not gotten,
It's a little eerie.
Isn't there some sort of, Jerry, isn't there some sort of administrator of the borough, since there is technically not a quorum?
It
for
should be
council?
in receivership to answer your question.
Yeah.
There is no borough at this point. There's no council, there's no mayor.
Yeah, so with that being said,
How does that work?
my understanding was the court system appoints an administrator to pay the bill.
They should be a receivership. It should be a receivership.
Do we have that person?
No, that is supposed to be done at the end of the year, whenever they run out of the budget that was approved for this year. They had a budget approved through the year of 2024. At the end of 2024, Mary Sue will no longer be able to pay a bill that is not in that budget. Well, actually, the whole way through this year, she can't pay anything.
See how
sticky
yeah, see how sticky that
That's a really.
So the first of the year, they should go to receivership.
is? But from my understanding, again, there's been people that are willing to serve on the council have sent letters in, and it's just waiting for the court approval. I could be wrong on that.
That's all allegation at this time.
All speculation.
There's no proof of any of that. However, I have talked to some that,
That's the stuff Terry Kunkel can help with. That's the
She's
stuff.
actually, she's actually involved in that.
Yeah,
John.
she was down here, they had a meeting
See
about
it?
things. They've just been trying to recruit people to serve open.
A lot of people don't know, and actually
The shit show in Coalport.
a lot of people don't know that out of the local government, DCD local government service that we're out of, there's our side, which is emergency services. But there's also peers that do financials for municipalities, where they actually come in and look at the financials and try and help them with their books and stuff. So there's actually two sides to where we're at.
Coalport Borough has not had bookkeeping for 3 years. Nothing.
So when you say Whitehall and Coalport, are they the same?
Coalport Borough is its own entity in Clearfield County. It's the borough in Clearfield County that our station, Glendale, is in.
And what about Whitehall?
White Township,
Oh,
White Township, Cambria County,
And Cameron.
we are the sole provider for that township for fire protection.
but do they have council and mayor?
They have township supervisors,
Township.
just like Beccaria Township
Well,
Supervisors.
there's
nobody here from White.
Yeah, nobody's
Okay.
serving.
Here from White.
But it's Coalport
Yeah.
that.
Even surrounded by Beccaria Township.
Yeah, Terry's aware of that.
Yeah, Terry's got all, well, her, not all she can do right now, I think, anyway.
Yeah, that's the stuff she
No.
Yeah.
really work. That's the stuff in her bread basket, but, you know, that's why, and then this stuff she refers to us, you know, to take care of, so. But Terry is a very good resource, and Terry is she was in the fire department for a while. I
Oh,
think
she
she
is.
still
She
is.
still
Yeah,
is.
she
Yeah.
still is. Yeah.
Generations.
I think she's told us that they give their money to the next, like, they have fundraisers and it's been that long ago since we talked to her. But like, it's just a little
Yeah, they're
population,
Yeah.
population of less than 500, you know?
Yeah.
So, but then our biggest concern is when we merge, still in Coalport Borough, so having the issues that they have with, our biggest concern is with the workers' comp. So,
Is that where you asked that it actually gets switched to? She's probably gonna shoot me someone.
I asked.
oh yeah, it's like,
I asked one of the supervisors what their thought was, and they said, I don't know if I
Well,
want
it's
to
an issue
hands-on
for
or
us
not.
because I don't have workers' comp. My guys aren't
Well,
going.
you guys already got shot down that one time, it wasn't paid, you're like, hey,
We went and got emergency workers' comp
Yeah.
through our,
Well, it says that midnight tonight, you're no longer covered, and you're like.
when that first happened.
right there, that's what's in the end of the day.
Yeah, that's a.
What's you guys' opinion on this? The workers' comp?
Somebody's gotta pay.
Well, I know,
You gotta have coverage.
we need coverage, so being that you guys are pretty much.
Well, the short story is,
Keep
the
everything
workers'
paid.
comp bill was paid.
The workers' comp bill recently went up.
So we're good for another 6 months.
We're good
Till
until
the end of the year.
We're good until for a
Next
quarter.
page, too.
So is that back
Leave
up
it
to
in
the
the
township responsibility then, where they, or what do you do in a case like that?
See, right now, that's a,
Yeah, nobody I've talked to seems.
Question for Terry.
That workers' they're required by law to provide workers' comp. Now, however you have it split up, I mean, technically, if this township here paid all of the workers' comp, I would imagine there is legal avenues to try and collect it, but I'm not.
See, I don't know how the township, does Coalport Borough send you a invoice that says, hey, this is how much you owe per, I don't know how they do that.
They send an invoice, which we haven't got yet,
in a possible way.
and
To the
the
township,
work off the
it goes to
census.
borough.
The most recent census ad, or are we going by
That's a Terry question.
Off the most recent census.
census ad?
We divide it down, I do all of this, I will work out the formula,
We
and send
are,
it to her.
in case anybody, the city of Du Bois is surrounded by Sandy Township. January 1st, 2026, it will all be the city of Du Bois. That's the first one in Pennsylvania.
Oh, that's your big 9 department,
Yeah, that's
isn't it?
my big one.
Yeah, that's this
Oh,
county.
so-
So, yeah, I mean, it's,
Oh, yeah, clear to it.
township can take over, you know, and just, city go, or the borough would go away and the township would take over all the responsibilities. But,
See, now,
Well,
Tim
Terry's-
Hauser,
that's a Terry, that's a
Yeah.
Terry.
Yeah, that's,
Tim Hauser
That's
is
an
our
airline.
lawyer.
Okay.
yeah, that's, we were gonna plan on going with him. We've used him in the past.
We've approached him with the problem about the workers' comp before, and like, your reaction was like,
Yeah, that's not a good situation.
No, I can
No, I
say
know.
one kind of thing, but we're on like the 3rd year right now of this being an issue.
See, because I know about workers' comp because we actually in our township, we have a duty crew. We have 2 guys in the stations from 8 to 3:30. And we, as Presto administers that, so we actually have a separate workers' compensation package for those guys because they're not technically township, they're not township employees.
there's a department between.
We have to have their workers' comp on. So, yeah, that's not a
Biggest
good,
obstacle we're gonna have to overcome is
that's
the
not a good
workers' comp.
situation. Hey, I've never really met Kim Hauser before, I've never really talked to him, but, yeah, I've known he's done many of these, so, yeah, he'd be a good guide for you too. He's gonna charge you.
Well, that's well, yeah.
He's gonna charge you, but again.
Yeah.
But still, I would get as much of the groundwork that you figure out before you even go to him. Get all the groundwork. You know, hey, this is our bylaws. These are our SOPs. You know, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to this. You know, and have all that laid out. And then when you give him all that information, you know, hopefully he'll just run with it and get all the procedures and everything else done. You know, what the name of the new department's gonna be, and all that stuff, get all that groundwork, you know, laid out first. And then, you know, I always laugh, cause those are the biggest questions, are, well, what's the name gonna be? What color are the trucks gonna be? What color are the gear gonna be? Who cares?
We'll figure that out.
Yeah, it's the same, our trucks are the same color, so.
There you go.
Trucks are the same color.
Hey, you guys just,
All right.
you guys just went to my order by new one.
Oh, I know.
It's gonna be pink.
Yeah, it'll take you 6 years to get it.
We'll see what 24 goes through.
Now, I will tell you that through our municipal assistance program that we call MAP, you can get grant funding then, once you merge, if you need, branding done or other equipment for the new department, things like that. You can come through our center and get grant funding. Now, there is a 50% match.
Even if that was 50% built
Yeah.
That's great.
But
Better than paying 100.
there is grant funding once you've merged to, get you going and
Once we're united.
marriage.
to change things over, the initial operation things, so keep that in mind. And as you have your meetings and get your agenda together, if you think, oh, hey, we should have a consultant just to kind of help us through this one or all of these items, let me know. I'll get Dan or somebody to come. We can do it virtually if you have virtual.
Yeah, we can.
capacity.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We just have the smoke signals up here, we have it.
Oh, we can send our little engine.
You can send those carrier pigeon.
One more piece of advice that as you're going through this process, please be 100% transparent. If you have a committee meeting, I would suggest that committee meeting be before your regular meeting, so you do a report or even post it on the board. Hey, we talked about this, this, and this. Be very, very transparent on both ends and communicate. Even though it seems like the littlest thing, get it out to your membership so everybody knows what's going on. So somebody can't come back and say, well, you know how sometimes that's.
I think regardless, you're gonna have that no matter what.
You are, but the more you get out there, the more that it's not necessarily public information, but everybody knows about it. Even if you just dedicate a whiteboard, hey, we did this, this, and this. Next month we're talking about this, this, and this. So if somebody has a question, and again, those designated members, if I got a question, come and give them an answer. Or else,
minutes of the meeting. Everything that you.
But just be very transparent. It's amazing how much easier it's gonna make stuff if you're transparent. And yeah, you're gonna have the naysayers, or why are we doing this, or why are we doing that? Well, then you give them an answer right then and there. I know the people that, they won't come to me to ask a question. They'll go to my captain or one of my lieutenants, and their explicit instructions is go ask him. That's why we're doing it that way. So.
What was the most difficult part in your merging that was a stumbling block? Just one.
Well, we're not merged. They don't want to. Truthfully, egos. In mine, it's egos. The other two departments are younger guys. They don't have the older guys. They're all younger guys. And they're in that, we call it down that way, we call it the 220 syndrome. They've been in 2 years and think they've been in 20. One fire chief's been in 5 years, and he's fire chief. The other one's been around a little bit longer, but truthfully, both of them roll out on trucks with 2 guys on a truck. It's just ego.
Thank you.
Quite welcome.
And jumping back to that MAP program, is that something that we would apply for directly, or is that something the municipality has to apply for?
Municipality would need to apply.
Yes. And it's actually something I would suggest, because until I started working for DCED, I really didn't realize all the resources that are possible through DCED. Usually they're through your municipality, but as long as you cooperate, our municipality just applied for a grant for us through the fire department, which hopefully we'll find out next week about. So.
But let me know, like keep me abreast of that, because I will tell the program manager and we will be on the lookout and we will help to see it through. Anything else?
Was this helpful for you guys?
Yeah, at least gave us the best way to start.
Yeah, basically here, we met a few times, talked. We had more questions than we did answers. Yeah, like, the what if, how do.
No, I would much rather have this meeting before jumping head first into a lawyer and trying to get all that done.
Yeah,
Learning on the fly.
get your groundwork going. I would say going forward, instead of paying Kim $100 an hour, call us first if you have a question. If we can't answer it, I'll tell you to call him. But hopefully we can we'll get you a freebie answer. But it is going to be upfront, and it is going to be a process. There's legalese, and like I said, you got to go through the Department of State, Orphans Court. Orphans Court, as I understand, is they got a CFDO. It's kind of like when you buy property and they do a title search. You know, that's kind of what Orphans Court is. That there isn't you didn't pay a bill 10 years ago that's still sitting out there that nobody knows about.
That'd be a good one. Our treasurer died unexpectedly last year, so.
Oh, jeez. You guys are getting the whole gamut of stuff up there.
Nah, Ian's been doing a good job.
No, Ian's been doing all right. I just don't know what bills were going to Jack's email.
True. We'll find out when we get out.
They haven't sent any
What's
to
the
the department's
exact one?
address, so they do.
All I know is.
Yeah, but on average, do you have a number what it costs legally to get a merger done? Like, on average, it costs 10 grand per department or total? I don't know, I mean, he has those numbers.
When the one time we did actually have all three departments in our township thinking about it, I believe the one department that runs Kim House, or I believe the price was $35,000, but please don't quote me.
Oh, yeah, I'm not. It just gets us in a ballpark.
Gives us an
An expectation. So if you're saying 35,000, it's like, okay, then today's prices, depending on how much legwork you have to do, if we can combine our,
Depends on how much you can do.
it's like first things first, all right, everybody's member is everybody. Everybody's in the same, you know.
If you get
dual
all that
membership.
groundwork laid out where he's not coming in and saying you got to do this, this, and this, you know, because probably one of the first things he did with ours was I need this, this, and this from each department. So if this, and this, and we did that a few years ago. All our bylaws are the same, and we tried standardizing. It's called a functional consolidation, where you are three different departments, but we try to play by the same rules.
We're all on the same page.
So,
Because we can do that, it's like, well, here's our bylaws, here's your bylaws, page 1.
right. But then what you want to do is, sit down, do your bylaws, and then, both accept that, whatever your procedure is, like ours.
Whatever we want to call.
You gotta bring it up for 3 meetings, or, you can still just keep it a separate department, adopt those bylaws, and then when they're already written, these are the bylaws.
Change our bylaws. We're basically going to take our bylaws and
Basically, adopt them.
Combine,
Either
yeah.
adopt and combine, or just
Well,
make that.
basically, it's going to be go through both of our bylaws and
Yeah.
Create one
See
set.
what-
And take one
put
set,
together
and each department
new bylaws.
has to accept them, and then when it comes time to, Kim says, I need a copy of your bylaws.
Boom.
Here you go.
I guess the other question I would have too would be, can I make a motion in a meeting that says, hey, all of our members are now going to be members with Reed, and that's gonna be kind of flip-flop back and forth?
Yeah.
Or
I would
do I need to
say-
get something official done for that?
No, I mean,
Like,
just
we
so
would have
it's,
to be
just so, I mean,
United Fire Department.
however I don't know what your membership requirements are, how, you know, if you put people through a probationary period, but I would just, you bring up, hey, we recognize all the members of Reed Township Fire Department as members of our fire department and vice versa. That should be enough legalese, so long as it's, the motion's made, it's on your books at a meeting and passed. That should be good enough to, you know, satisfy them until you get the merger complete.
There's so many people who have steering committees
Yeah,
with recommendations.
Start with a steering committee, like I said, keep it to a minimum, 3 or 4 people per department.
I'd say 4 and 4.
Just to, you know, and truthfully, if you really, it's up to you guys if you want to get you know, somebody from the municipality involved, or, you know, just so they know what's going on. That's fine too, but yeah, just keep it. Like I said, you don't want 20 people in a room because you're not going.
Yeah.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Keep it simple and keep it transparent. Get whatever information, you know, like I said, post it on the board. Take minutes at those meetings, post it on the board. This is what we're talking about. This is what we decided. This is, you know, and then bring it up at your meetings. It's gonna make life a lot easier for you doing it that way.
And a ballpark figure, what are we talking about for like a year from now, be merged, or 6 to 8?
If you have all that groundwork, once you get all that groundwork, I don't see it taken out. You should be able to do it within a year. Well, I work for state government, so I deal with state government. So yeah, that's probably where you're going to be. Where, you know, whatever the time lag is in orphans court. Let's see, orphans court's county, right? Yes.
Yeah.
So that would be another, that would be another thing we might have, since you're 2 separate counties. But it should be, we'd have to go through both counties. And that's a question for Kim. But yeah, your end of it, as long as you have everything in agreement, shouldn't take that long, but it's just all the applications and how long it takes, you know, for the bureaucracy to approve it all. But that still doesn't mean that, you know, you can't be training together, you can't be doing fundraisers together. I mean, truthfully, I'd start acting as one company, even though it's not signed, sealed, and delivered, as soon as possible.
Well, then there's that sticky workers' compensation issue.
Yes.
And it's
How
something
you looking?
it's like our next fundraiser is up at the lake
Pair of glasses and a cup.
at a festival there. So if we're cooking and somebody gets burned, if it's one of my members, fine. But if it's one of their members, what happens? Because it's at Glendale Fire Company stand. See, therein lies the problem.
Yeah, but if you put that resolution through recognizing them as members, and as long as it is on, what a lot of people don't realize is somewhere in your minutes, you need to have that festival or whatever authorized. That you're gonna do.
Yeah.
So that covers, that's your workman's comp coverage right there. So as long as you have it recognized. And a lot of people don't realize that you technically have to do that for everything. If I'm sweeping the floor in the station and I fall down, go boom, and get hurt, technically somewhere in our bylaw or somewhere in your minutes, that should have been an approved and authorized act. If they really want to be, pardon my French, shitty about it, they can go back and say, well, why was he sweeping the floor? Was he authorized to sweep the floor? You can do it generically. You can do one of those, all duties necessary to
Station maintenance.
maintenance and, but, you know, technically workers' comp, it has to be spelled out.
The state workers fund will ask for a register of every active member.
We actually, our duty shift we had to come up with, we actually have a book of what their, a job description, it's a job description, and all that was for workers' comp. A handbook, employee handbook, we actually had, and they have to sign and acknowledge.
But we consider our employee handbook, we give them a copy of the bylaws.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's all outlining duties of members.
Yeah, you're not, these guys get paid, so that's why we had to get all that extra, but volunteers, yeah. As long as they have a copy of your bylaws, copy of your SOGs, SOPs, just so everybody's on the same page, technically.
I thought of one more.
Time's up.
With the state grant. I know every year it says that all your merger paperwork has to be submitted by whatever day. What paperwork is that?
Oh, they want to see everything. They want to see the department, the orphans court. They want to see, and it should only be that one time.
Okay.
Just so you know the way, and I just found this out recently in talking to Commissioner Cook. The way the merge grants work is, like, you know, right now you apply for 20,000, you never get the 20, the full. So what they do is they base the grant on the new entity, okay? So if the new entity is getting $16,000, they then double it.
Okay.
So it's 32,000. Then they add your certifications on. So the firefighter ones, that's bonus points on top of that.
Okay.
So they double it and then add the certifications in.
Okay.
Whatever that number is, they won't tell me.
And
So that's how that works.
so say now we get to next year and we don't have all this stuff done yet. We're still not on paper merged to a new department.
And then you just
Do I just apply as one I am now?
apply it.
And they can too.
This is what we're gonna do for.
Yeah, just if.
Same as this year.
Yeah, I would suggest that, you know, you can do a hell of a lot more with 30,000 than you can go for those bigger projects. So you can still, you know, what's that one part, there's that one part where you can do the combined grant. And you can do that too, but just agree ahead of time that, hey, we need 8 sets of gear. So with your 15,000, our 15,000, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
you know, or you need 5 and he needs 3. Okay, let's both apply for 4. So that's the work, the compromise and work out there. So,
Okay, you're both not applying for the same piece of equipment. One applies for one
Yeah,
piece,
you-
the other one says, hey, we want this piece.
yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
getting the 2 different pieces, but eventually you come into one.
Well, and that's the stuff.
What do you want to apply for?
Going forward, even when you merge, you know, you're going to find stuff when you merge into the one department. You're going to start looking at stuff. Well, okay, over here we have a MSA tick. Over here we have a Bullard tick. All right, let's pick one or the other. And going forward, that's what we're, you know, just standardizing that stuff going forward.
So everything's interchangeable.
So again, you got, like I said, if you have a question or, you know, I'm 2 hours away. I'm sure I can come up, I can get permission to come up and address a meeting or something like that. We have a newer consultant, Levi actually lives in Mercer County, so he's probably about this, maybe a little bit closer than I am, but, you know, we're here to help.
Or we can do it via
Video.
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 Conference, blah, blah, blah.
I am not a Teams person.
No, I ain't team.
I do not.
There's me.
She kind of laughs at me because I do not do I drove to do one study. I drove 6 hours up to Scranton, PA, just in person, because I had to do one study during COVID and Teams, and it ended in disaster. I like coming, I like seeing the people, I like seeing the body expressions, I like you seeing me. Again, I do this because I am passionate. The more of these I do, the more I'm convinced the fire service in Pennsylvania is its own worst enemy. And when I hit ones like this where you guys, in my opinion, are actually doing the right thing, it's refreshing. It actually is refreshing.
Well, that's what we told we were doing, right?
Yeah.
Well, basically,
So-
as we talked like years ago, should have been.
I was gonna say, 40 years ago, they looked at each
But
other and said,
the
"What
problem
the
is,
hell?"
the really older members, there was friction
Yeah.
between departments for whatever reason.
Basically.
But
Personal difference.
yeah, personal difference.
Okay, that's still out there. It's still out there more than you.
Remember we was going to high school, the fights between Coldport and Blandbrook? I said, can you remember the fights between Blandbrook and Coldport back in the day when we was going to school?
Oh, yeah.
Before they would have
So,
said,
Here's a lot of fire companies were fighting.
so I'm going to go back now with the understanding that no study is needed, right?
I don't think we need
No,
that.
I think we're good. We have talked about what the preliminary stuff are. Their stations way on this end. Now, they can help us with coverage in Beccaria Township because they bought up against it. They can help us with White Township. So, everything
Okay.
good in that respect, and keeping the stations where they're at was the other things that we discussed preliminary. Because it's just geographic,
they have
the better
networks
thing.
running to a central location would be.
Over the river.
If you were running to a central location.
But it takes me 10, 15 minutes to get to Blandford, depending on traffic,
Well, and
and
that's
vice
just it.
versa.
And a lot of people don't understand, the volunteer fire service, you put the station where the people are.
Yeah.
Paid fire service, career fire service, you put the station where the calls are. It just so happens that back in the day, and I'm sure it was kind of the same, it was out of necessity, but it was also the social club of the year, of the time, There was nothing else to do, so you went down to the fire department, and truly back in the days, they went down to the fire department to hide from their wives. That's
Going down West Fire Road.
okay. I've been around long enough.
I go to the garage.
Well, you have my card, you have my contact information, please reach out.
Since I got them now, I can handle them.
If you need Dan to assist with anything else, please come to me, and then we'll work on getting him scheduled. Like he said, he's a consultant, so we monitor the projects and we assign the projects to him. And then that's how he gets paid. The municipality doesn't have to pay, but the state does pay our consultants for their time.
Everybody laughs because I call her my handler, like in this.
So, yeah, so you have to come through me to get to him.
Are you getting them to say yes, dear?
Yes. Very close.
But, my cell phone number is on there. If you have a quick question, you can call me. And no, I don't put a bill in for a 5-minute phone call. So,
Kim does.
Mentioned Kim did on the last one I called.
Again, that's why I started doing these and, so if you have a quick question, call me. You don't have to go through me. And if it's something more, then go through her if you wanna, do it that way. But I am available. I will answer my phone. Well, I might not answer it if I don't recognize the number, but I'll call you back.
Fair enough.
I don't think
It'll
they're
come up spam.
That's where you text that person that says answer and then call.
Okay, people do that too.
Okay.
Please.
Just shoot me a text message.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
Basically,
Thank you guys for your time.
wanted to do the study because we didn't know